Hi, my name is Bryce Nielsen, and this is my video interview for the Bio 100 and Bio 130 TA positions. So this past winter semester, I took Bio 130 with Brother Levitt, and I got an A in the class. I really liked the class. I liked how you were kind of forced to learn. It wasn't just 100% in class. It was kind of just going home, studying out on your own, and then in class you made sure you were learning the right stuff. My major currently is biology. I kind of have I guess a BYU family heritage of science majors. For example, my grandpa, he was a, well, he studied chemistry, and then he eventually became a professor here at BYU. His name was Angus Blackham. My dad got bachelor's and a master's in geology here at BYU, and my brother got his bachelor's in biochemistry. So I'm kind of continuing on the family tradition of science majors at BYU, but I'm just going in biology, which is a slightly different field, but I really like biology. So I'm excited for it. So some qualities that I think would help me be a good TA are that I'm very caring and I want people to succeed. So I would much rather be someone who motivates success, who helps people out, than be someone who puts a roadblock in their success. So that would motivate me to just help in any way I could to my fellow students who are taking these biology classes. I know for me personally, it wasn't very hard, but that's because I really like biology. So I know that for a lot of people, these classes are really hard, and so I would just want to do as much as I can to help them, whether that be answering questions in class, in office hours, or scheduling a time that works for the my fellow student. So yeah, I think I'm very caring, and that will help me help them. I also, like I said before, I also really like biology. It's something I'm really passionate about. So I would welcome the opportunity to be a TA and learn more so I can teach better and teach a lot clearer, and give better answers to questions. So yeah, I really like biology, and I'm very caring. And so there's a couple of the qualities that I think would help me be a good TA. So an outgoing thing I've done recently has been at my job. So for the summer, I've been living at my parents' house in California, and working at a produce stand, kind of like a farmer's market, except there's just one farmer. So lots of my fellow employees, lots of my coworkers, um, sorry, some of my coworkers don't know English; they only speak Spanish, and lots of the customers um, don't speak English; they only speak Spanish as well. So I learned Spanish on my mission. I went to Ecuador, and so I've been able to use that skill to um, help things go smoothly. So I'm kind of the go-to guy when there's someone who doesn't speak English that comes up. Um, yeah, I just kind of translate, help them out, and and I also oftentimes just will have the work phone handed to me because the person only speaks Spanish. So it's a good way for me to practice my Spanish, and it's also a way I think I've been outgoing. Just not really being asked to do this, but doing it anyways so I can help other people out. Um, so how I would explain to a student where the mass of a tree comes from. So first, I'd show them the equation for photosynthesis, which is 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O, with light energy goes to C6H12O6 and uh, 6O2. Yeah. So I explained that trees and plants, the main component of them is it's just it's all sugar. It's different sugars. But a tree, it can be better word would be it's all carbohydrates. So they're all the tree's structural component is mainly cellulose. It's a polysaccharide. So the way the tree or the plant makes this is from the carbon the carbon dioxide they use in photosynthesis. So that carbon, CO2, goes to the sugar, which is C6H12O6, which is glucose. So that carbon comes from the carbon dioxide. Like, as you can see, I mean, in the equation, it's 6CO2 and 6H2O. And the only things that stay are parts of the oxygen, parts of the hydrogen, and all of the carbon. So yeah, that's where the weight or the mass in a tree or plant comes from. So yeah, and then if they had any questions, I would just answer them. But yeah, that's how. Like, and a lot of students have misconceptions that, like, I personally had a misconception that most of the mass comes from the ground, from the soil that the tree or the plant is in. But no, it's not that way. It's from the air. So that was kind of crazy for me. So I think I would be able to help them understand that. To explain how antibiotic resistance comes about. So first of all, in a population of bacteria, there will be some variation, genetic variation. It won't be as much genetic variation as in humans because bacteria don't reproduce in the same way we do. But there still is genetic variation. So some bacteria, they have resistance to certain antibiotics. Yeah, that, just to put it simply, that's the best way to just put it simply. So they have genetic traits, or they have certain certain alleles that help them not get killed by antibiotics. And so when, for example, if we have a disease, they give us antibiotics, lots of the bacteria will be killed. But if there are bacteria present in that population that are resistant to that antibiotic, they will live. They will remain in our bodies, and then they'll reproduce. And so this population, although it might be smaller than the original population, more of the bacteria will be resistant. It won't be all of them, because sometimes it's just pure chance that they don't get killed by the antibiotics, but most of them will be now resistant. So a greater percentage of the population is now resistant, and so that antibiotic over time just becomes less and less useful and eventually obsolete in helping combat that certain infection or whatever the antibiotic was used for. Yeah, so that's how I'd explain how antibiotic resistance comes about, and just answer questions as they come. So the way I think students learn best is kind of just a bit of pretty much just a lot of trial and error and a lot of working it out on your own. I mean, you learn from mistakes. If you're doing an equation and you mess up, the odds of you making that mistake again are lower than when you first messed up. And then just working it out on your own. It's just like, it gets your creative juices flowing, and if you have to work it out on your own, like personally for me, I remember it better than if someone just tells me. Like if I just, like in history class, for example, if they're just telling me a bunch of stuff and I'm just writing it down, I'm not going to remember it. I'm going to have to study it a lot more, and it's not going to be fun. But if I have to work it out on my own, I'm going to remember what my thought process was, which will help me eventually to remember it, or remember whatever topic it was. But you also got to make sure that the students are learning the correct stuff. It's not like they're working out a problem and they get the wrong answer, because that won't help them either. So what I think is best is first they work it out on their own. Then they tell the teacher or the TA what they think the answer or the solution is, and then the teacher or the TA makes corrections using their words and their answer, like the words of the student, and then the likelihood of the student remembering it is a lot higher. So yeah, so currently I don't have an on-campus job. This will be my first job on campus if I get it. So I have 0 hours committed to on-campus work. Just school for now. Hopefully, eventually, I'll get into a lab, and hopefully, I'll be working as a TA. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching the video, and hope to see you guys soon. Bye.